Hey friends, it's Brant and Jim again. Thank you so much for going to changewhatspossible.com, for putting in your information, and for downloading the survey results so that you could see where other people are struggling to make meaningful change. We certainly hope you don't feel maybe as lonely as you might have before you saw those results, but I hope what came across is that all of us struggle. All of us find it difficult to make meaningful change, and that's what we wanted to talk about today, is go a little bit deeper into the ACDC method and what's involved. Jim, tell them a little bit about the AC.
So the AC in the ACDC method is about an awareness of your core values. And when we talk about core values, we're talking about those handful of things, 4 or 5 things that in life, they're your guiding principles. They are almost like your compass or your magnetic north.
Are these the things that are more important than others? Are they things that you hold important?
They're the things that you hold as most important. And what's interesting about our values is that they rarely change. They are formed over the course of our entire lives. And where our feelings are sort of up and down, back and forth, and change all the time, our core values rarely change. And when we are making decisions based on our core values, the likelihood of us making the best decisions is much greater. And so the awareness of our core values leads us to the DC in the ACDC method.
That's right. The DC, of course, stands for the discipline of commitment. Now, we define success as making and keeping commitments.
That's right.
And what we find is that when you don't know what really matters to you, staying committed is a hard task to follow.
Yeah, because when you're trying to make decisions and you're basing them on your feelings with no reference to your values, in the same way that we define success as making and keeping commitments, we define fulfillment as living a life in line with your values.
We spend most of our time on the road giving talks to hundreds and thousands of people, and what we find is that no matter how much we ask people, what matters most? What are your 4 or 5 core values that you live your life by, that are your non-negotiables, that you filter every decision in your life through? And we often get stared at with these blank stares because people have not taken the time to determine what matters the most to them in their lives. Now, we see it even probably more in a little younger generation than we have in the baby boomers and the generation before that, and our grandparents. They sort of came from a place of value. They lived their whole life on these family values.
Right.
But the last 20 years, we've sort of seen that erode a bit, and this idea of the 3-generational family even is almost non-existent these days. So the idea becomes we have a bunch of passionate people, but they don't know why they're passionate.
They know how they feel.
That's right.
Actually, in many cases, they don't even know why they feel the way they feel.
Well, that's the struggle.
They're great at telling you how they feel, but no one has invited them into a space where they're able to explore and determine and apply what their core values are. And so the idea of being disciplined and being committed, when they hear the word discipline, they think that it's a punishment.
That's right. Like they're pulling out the switch or the ruler. When I was in kindergarten, the teacher used to use a ruler, and if we were misbehaving, she would smack the back of our knuckles with a ruler. Now, if that happened today, she'd be in jail.
It's amazing you have any hands left.
Well, I have big knuckles, though.
Look, we have really big news, and we're about to unveil for you in a deeper measure what the ACDC method is.
We told you earlier, inspiration's cheap. So we decided to do something about it. We have created an 8-week course. An 8-week course designed to be 40 days worth of material for you. The course is called the ACDC Method, 8 weeks to a life that rocks, because that's what we want.
Because inspiration is cheap, but action is priceless. And this is an action-based program with trackable, measurable results for whatever area of your life you are working to change. The 8 weeks is going to focus on one very specific area of your life that you determine. But as you work through that area, you're going to learn how to apply this method for overcoming the challenge of change in any area of your life.
We tried lots of different programs. We tried lots of different brain hacks. We tried lots of different processes out there to get us to where we wanted to go, and we just couldn't find anything that was a holistic approach to providing us a life that truly rocks. Now, what you see before you today is not what you might have seen a few years ago.
No.
We were struggling hard in different areas of our lives. We decided to make that change. We have found the way to make that change. And so now we are very blessed. We have an opportunity to travel the world and help people achieve what we achieved. But man, we're going to tell you straight up front, it's not easy.
Yeah, easy doesn't get the job done. And most things in your life that are worth doing are not easy. And yet, it's extraordinarily doable and ultimately not as difficult as people think it is.
But it takes discipline. Right?
It does.
It takes discipline. So we've got to get you to a place where you understand how to make sure that you can maintain the discipline necessary to get you to where you want to go. So this is what we're going to do. If you haven't already, please go to changewhatspossible.com, put in your name and address, or your name and your email address anyways, and we're going to send you some information about this course. It's going to launch soon. That's the good news. The little precarious news is this. We're not going to be able to accommodate everybody, because what you're actually going to get with this course is not just an 8-week video series. You're going to get access to Jim and I personally. You're going to have weekly check-ins that we do via Facebook Live, via several different platforms to make sure that no one is excluded. And we really want you to know that this is going to be some difficult work. This is going to be some digging deep, some getting vulnerable, some asking some tough questions.
Yeah, and incredibly worth it.
No question at all. So we hope that you will do that. We'll hope you go and give us your email address, your information, changewhatspossible.com. We're going to be back in a couple weeks with all the specifics, but you know what? We're never going to do a couple weeks. Let's make it a couple days.
Sounds good.
Couple of days in your face with all the information that you need so that you can join us on this 8-week journey to a life that rocks. Rock and roll with it, friends.